Getting your voice heard. My name's Mike Cashman. I hope you'll subscribe to the channel, Britannia Waves the Rules. This video is a little bit different. So instead of advocating a particular political message, I'm going to talk about the means by which I get that message out. So you could look at this and adapt it and use it for your own purposes, whatever your political message is. I'll take the risk of the ideas being used by the other side. I'm not saying that I've got fantastic secrets of success, but I will share the secrets of my failures and successes with you in this brief run through. So I'll therefore go through the story of my sharing messages, sharing information, sharing political viewpoints first, and then draw some conclusions. So galloping fairly briefly through this, I wrote some parody songs on social media, shared one, Brexitian Fantasy, before the Brexit referendum. It got shared hundreds of times on social media. I wrote various others, and in October 2019, I published Brexit's a Trick Not a Treat. And that was fairly rapidly followed by Brexit's a Musical Trick, full Brexit musical using every tune from Les Miserables in parody form. And as we got into coronavirus, I ended up publishing also what the Sunday Times called Coronavirus the Musical, but the main title is I Don't Beg Pardon, I'm Talking Bollocks from the Rose Garden. One more book, which is actually a compendium of the three together, because the most common purchase by then was to buy all three together, so I published all three together as Britannia Waves the Rules, matching the name of the channel. My process now, which has evolved, is that I will typeset this myself. I haven't produced ebooks other than for the first one. The cover, first two I did have professionally designed, but I have moved to designing the cover myself, but using illustrations where I can from that I've been able to get hold of, or I did have an illustrator draw Mr. Cummings in the Rose Garden for me. But that was a lot less than the cost of designing, having the whole cover designed. So that keeps the cost of publishing fairly low. You know, if you've got the PDF of the cover and the PDF of the inside, then you can publish on Amazon, for example. And in my case, it didn't stop there. So I got together with Ben Chambers of 16 Million Rising, and socially distanced, one singer at a time, we recorded all the 25 songs from Brexit's Musical Trick, and Ben mixed and mastered them. And in fact, we did the same for I Don't Beg Pardon, for, as I say, for Coronavirus the Musical, another 25 songs. Just drawing some conclusions from this. One thing I did want to explain is I'm not advocating this as a means of getting rich. On the back of the first book, actually, I'd said we'll give half the profits to charity. Be honest, I said half because I was thinking, well, I'm putting all this time into it. Perhaps I should show some income coming into the household. But by the time we got into the second and third one, I simply said, we'll give all the profits to charity. And just between you and me, I had originally intended or hoped that from the royalties on book sales and so on, the share that you get from Amazon, and the profits on the CDs, I had hoped that these would cover the production costs, the costs of initially getting the CD prepared, for example, and then when I said I'd give away the profits, it would be the surplus profit after that. But I rapidly realised that that wasn't going to happen, and if I wanted to make that pledge mean anything real, then I had to say, actually, for each book, each CD, once we've covered the physical cost of printing the book or producing the CD, and there's a small copyright fee, royalty fee, for the copyright owners for the original songs in the case of the CDs, that all the rest will go to charity, and that's what we're doing. So this isn't making me rich, it's not generating enormous amounts of money. A total revenue is in the, shall we say, the low numbers of thousands of pounds. But, you know, it's making a bit of a mark. But something further happened. Early in 2020, I was trying to get hold of a particular size of sticky label for the CD, and in fact for the stick on the USB version. the supplier I'd ordered them from, it turns out they were coming from Dublin, got held up in British customs, which, according to the suppliers, was in a complete shambles in the early days of Brexit. And I did a little piece straight to camera, said, how's your post-Brexit supply chain going? Mine's in a mess. And 8,000 people viewed it, which was far more than there had been for any of the individual song videos that I had put out onto YouTube. Other than I Am the Very Model of a Prejudiced Etonian by my co-author for the first book, Robin Wallington. Friends of his had produced the video, which went onto YouTube and had 93,000 views, I think partly helped by the fact that Hugh Grant tweeted, "This is the best thing to come out of Brexit," about it. So there we are, 3 books, 2 CDs and a compendium book. But the YouTube channel that had initially had the song videos and then had that piece straight to camera, I found that depending on the content, that potentially thousands of people would watch if I shared my views on YouTube. And you've seen the videos, they're relatively straightforward. I speak to camera, do an edit to put a title on, take out any of the worst ums and ers, and publish it on YouTube. And again, that process is all free, other than the time that it takes to do. I've cooperated a little bit with other people. Robin Wallington in the first couple of books. Peter Cook, we have some of his songs. Music Sounds Better with EU featured a kind of 2-hour-long section of my pieces. And Manchester for EU, doing a protest around the Conservative Party conference, and put on a number of my videos as part of that. And it's great what other people can add. Working with Peter Core of Music Sounds Better with EU, he suggested a UK's Coming Home version of Football's Coming Home for the Euros, and very rapidly I wrote the lyrics, found somebody who could sing it. Peter produced a tremendous video from a couple of different channels. It got about 7,000 views on each channel, and cheered us all up with this UK's Coming Home, UK's rejoining the EU, looking into the future. I also did a little extra promotional piece, so a completely empty box called Sovereignty that I produced myself, but for £48.52 you get the box, 2 CDs and 3 books, given that one of the most common purchases was buying the 3 books altogether. And that's caused a little bit of a stir and a bit of amusement and some extra sales. So, drawing some lessons from all of that, everybody's talents are different. Now, I'm assuming that you're prepared to put some time into conveying the message that you want to convey. And if you do, the question that I would ask is, what are you good at? What can you do yourself? Now, in my case, what I can do is I can speak, I can write parody songs. I can't sing them very well, as you may have noticed if you've followed the Sue Gray song, but I know some people who can. I can do a bit on graphics and some basic video editing, and that's what I'm able to do. If you can sing, if you can play a musical instrument, you can record yourself, putting your video on YouTube is free. I wouldn't, from my experience, necessarily recommend self-publishing your message, but it's an option, and I hope I've described the ways in which you can keep the costs relatively low. The external cost, you may want an illustrator for the front cover, or maybe you've got a photo you can use, which is your own copyright. That's up to you. I've found the rest of that can be done at no cost. So it's an opportunity that you can consider. What else? I've got a website. I didn't have somebody else produce that for me. I used WordPress, and the advantage of that is that's flexible. I can add things whenever I need to. So that's better than paying £1,000 to somebody else, in my view. So there you are. And you may have social media on which you're more active. For me, Facebook, YouTube, a bit of Twitter. I have a blog, viewdelta.blogspot.com. And for kind of more extensive discussion, I'm a little bit active on Quora. And these things can kind of reinforce themselves. So I had a message on, or an answer on Quora. The question was, after Brexit, are you still proud to be a Remainer? That got a lot of votes on Quora as being an informative answer. And so quite recently, I produced a video based on that. And sure enough, it proved to be a popular message and got some 6,000 views, I think, at the last count. That was a week or two ago. So look at what works on one medium and see how it will work on another. You may have heard me before say, my conclusion on Facebook posts and blogs and so on is I could write 800 words that maybe 20 people will look at, or I can write a 20-word meme that 800 people might look at. Both of those are possible. So you have to choose what it is that you want to say. So a few random thoughts there. I hope that's been useful. And if you want to hear more from me, subscribe to the channel. Britannia Waves the Rules. Thank you.